Hi everyone, and welcome to section 1.7, which deals with decimals. So let's talk about what the heck are decimals, okay? The decimal is another way of writing fractions whose denominators are power of 10, okay? So let's talk about the decimal places. So here you have the tenths, hundredths, thousands, 10,000s, and 100,000ths place. Remember, to the left of the decimal point, you have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, and 100,000s. So 0.1 is equivalent to 1/10. And in fact, we say it 1/10, okay, because it's 1/10. See how it's one in the tenths place. 0.01 would be 100th. It's in the hundredths place, okay, so 100th. 0.0001 is 1,000th, and then 0.0001 is 1/10,000. Note that the number of decimal places is the number of zeros in the fraction. So here you have one decimal place, it's 10. Here you have two decimal places, it's 100. You have three decimal places, 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3,000. 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places, you have 4 zeros in the denominator there. So kind of interesting. Okay, so how do we name a decimal? We name the number to the left of the decimal point. We write and for the point, and then we name the number to the right, but we name the decimal place of the last digit. So this would be 4 and 3/10. Okay, because it's in the tenths place. So this decimal would be negative 2, and then there's a decimal, so we would write and then you have 53, 3, it's THREE, hello. And then this is tenths, hundreds, thousands, so this would be thousandths. Remember that the decimal always ends with this like THS. Okay, so how do we write the decimal if we're given a word? Okay, so first we look for the word and, because that's going to give us a decimal point. Okay, so if we have the phrase here, we put a decimal point where the word and goes, okay? And the words before that, that's 14, so that's the whole number part, okay? And the words to the right is the decimal part, okay? So 24 thousandths. So remember, it's tenths, hundreds, thousands. So it's going to end here. So it's going to be 24, but you're going to have a placeholder 0 because remember, this is the tenths, this is the hundredths, okay? THS, and this is the thousandths. So because we need to have 3 decimal places because it was thousandths, okay? And since it was just 24, we had to write it all the way to the right, okay? And then we needed to add a 0 because that was a placeholder. Okay, so next, let's go ahead and talk about rounding decimals. So rounding, first you have to locate the place value, then we look immediately to the right. If it's equal to, if it's equal to or greater than 5, we move it up, and if it's less than 5, we leave it the same. So if we want to round 18 and 379 thousandths to the nearest hundredth, okay, so this is where we want to, this is the number that we're going to round, okay, the 7, right, because it's asking us to the nearest hundredth. Now we look immediately to the right of it, okay, so the number to the right of the hundredths place is 9, so that's greater than 5. So what are we going to do? We're going to round up. So that's going to be 18 and 38 hundredths, okay? And then this one is going to be round to the nearest hundredth. That's here. This is the hundredths place. It's the second spot to the right of the decimal point. So what do we look at? We look immediately to the right, and we notice that this number is 3. That's less than 5, so we leave it as is. So this would be 9 and 17 hundredths. Okay, so let's do some super fun examples. Okay, let's go ahead and round. Did we just do this one? Sorry. Yes, we did. We did this one to the nearest tenth and the nearest whole number. So again, this was the tenths place actually, so we didn't do that. The 10th place, we would look at the hundredths to see whether to go up or down. So this is going to be 18.4 or 18 and 4/10. And the nearest whole number, okay, so the number in question is 13 and 379,000. So we're looking at this number, the whole number. So immediately to the right is this 3, okay, less than 5, so we stay is. So the nearest whole number is 18. Okay, now if we want to round 15 and 0.2175 to the nearest thousandth, what place is that? Tens, hundreds, thousandths. We want to round to this one, so we look at the 10,000ths place. It's 5, so we round up. So that's going to be 15 and 218 thousandths for A. And then for B, hundredth, that's going to be this one. Okay, so to the right of it is 7. So for the hundredth, 15.2175, the hundredth is here. To the right is 7. We go up, so that's going to be 15th and 22 hundredths. And then the nearest tenth. So for C, again, let me just write it again so that you can see the nearest tenth. This is a tenths place. I look at the one immediately to the right. It's less than 5, so I'm going to stay the same. So that's 15 and 2/10. Okay. All right. Now, how do we add or subtract decimals? Okay, we add or subtract. We line them up. We use zeros if necessary, and then we add or subtract if they were whole, and then we bring the decimal point down. So let me show you. So we have 23.5, and then we're going to add 41.38. Okay, so this doesn't have anything, so we leave a 0 as a placeholder, and then we just add down. So this is 8, bring down the decimal for 64.88. Now, you might say, well, can I just put it in the calculator? Yes, of course, you can check yourself with the calculator. Totally fine, okay? So here, 11.69, well, I'm going to write the first one first. It doesn't really matter, actually, because it's commutative, right? You can add, add either order. So 9, right? And then 8 plus 6 is 14, right? We carry the 1, bring down the decimal point. 1 plus 4 plus 1 is 6, and then we bring down this 1, and your answer is 16 and 49 hundredths. Okay, let's do a couple more. So we have... I'm going to write this one, the larger one on top, just for funsies. And then 5.123, I'm adding, this is a 0. So I just go add it straight down because I lined up the decimals. 395, right? Bring down the decimal. This is going to be 13, carry the 1. Okay, so 23 and 593 thousandths. Okay, so now let's subtract. So we have 20 and we're subtracting 14.65, but because we don't have anything, we're going to bring zeros, okay? We're going to add zeros, okay? And we're going to borrow, right? So because you can't take away 0 from 5, we borrow from here. That makes it 10, but because 0 didn't have anything to make it 10, this is going to be, we're going to borrow from here, right? This is going to be a 9. Then we're going to borrow from here, which is also going to be a 9. So here, and then that's going to become a 1, okay? So then we subtract 5, 3, 4, 5.35, okay? All right, let's continue. Now, when you multiply and divide decimals, you basically do it like you would. The only difference is that you need to determine where to put the decimal point, okay? So we're just going to do this one time so you see how this works, and then from now on you're not going to have to. So take, for example, 0.3 and 0.7. If I rewrite these as fractions, that's 3/10 times 7/10, right? And if I multiply them together, it's 21 over 100, but that's 2 decimal places. So that's 0.21. It's hundredths, right? If I do this one, 0.2 times 0.46, that's 2/10 times 46 hundredths. Multiply across the top 92, across the bottom 1,000. Notice this is 92 over 1,000, 92 thousandths, so 3 decimal places. So what does that mean? We multiply them, okay, and we ignore the decimal points, and then we go ahead and count the decimal places, and the product is going to have the same number as the sum of the decimal places in the factors, okay? Another thing you could say, well, can't you just use your calculator? Yes, of course, right? Negative 3.9. So see how it's different? I don't line up the decimals. But let's just go ahead and do this. Okay, so this is going to be 5, 4. This is 63 plus 4, 7, right? 9 times 0 is 0 plus 6, right? 9 times 4 is 36. Bring down a 0. This is going to be 15. 3 times 5 is 15. Carry the 1. This is 21, 2, 22. 3 times 0 is 2. 0 plus 2 is 2. And then 3 times 4 is 12. So if I add these, now I can add this. Oh, but I'm going to go ahead and add it because I'm multiplying them. But then I know at the end, my sign is going to be negative. Okay, so here is going to be 5, 12, 9, 8, 5, and then 1. And how many decimal places do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. Okay. And of course, you can always check with your calculator if you got this correct. So it would be a negative, of course, 4.075 times 3.9, and of course you would get 15.8925 or 15 and 8,925 10,000ths, right? But it's negative, of course. All right, so similarly here, we'll do one more, 6.107 times 4.5 negative. I'm going to leave the negative, because it's going to be negative at the end. So really, if you want, you can put it over here or however you want to do it. Just don't confuse it with that you're subtracting, okay? So then let's go ahead and multiply this. So 7 times 5 is 5, carry the 3. 3 times 5 is 0, 3. This is going to become 5. This is 30. Okay, and I'm ignoring the decimal places, okay? I'm ignoring the decimal places first. Okay, then the next one, 4 times 7, 8, carry the 2, 4 times 0, 0 plus 2, and then 4 times 1 is 4, and then 4 times 6 is 24, and then add. Sorry about that. Okay, and then this is 5, 1, 1, 8, 4, 7, 2, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places, okay? And it's a negative because a negative times a positive is a negative. So that's 27 and 4,815 10,000ths. Okay, so how do we multiply a decimal by a power of 10? We move the decimal place to the right, the decimal point to the right, the same number of places as the number of zeros in the power of 10. So if we multiply 5.63 by 10, what that means is you're just going to multiply this, you're going to move this decimal place over. So for A, so 5.63 is the original, but times 10 is going to be 56.3. Notice I moved it over once. For B, by 100, it's going to be 563. And then for C, it's going to be, I have 3 zeros, so I'm going to move it over 1, 2, 3 spaces, but there isn't one, so I put in a 0. Okay, it's going to be 5,630. Okay, so for this one, 258, 2 and 58 hundredths, if I multiply by 10, I move the decimal place over to the right one. Okay, and then B, multiply by 100, I get 258 because I moved the decimal place over twice. And then C, by 1,000, I have 3 zeros here. I'm going to move this 1, 2, 3 over, so it's 2,580. Oopsies. Oh no, I'm getting low on battery. Okay, so let me go ahead and just stop here and then charge, and then I will restart again. Okay, so I will see you in the next video, guys.